stir it up. The flour is the thickening agent, and it's going to be kind of like clumped down in the bottom. You can see it's gotten a little thicker. Stick it back in for another minute. Try this again.
Is it supposed to get thicker the longer you cook it?
Well, see how it is?
Mm-hmm.
It's about what you want it, isn't it? Or do you like it thicker than this?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just thinking because you're good on that.
Well, see, it does. Ordinarily, when you make this on the stove, you have to boil it or it doesn't thicken. So I suppose, yeah, the longer you cook it in the microwave, the better. But I think it's about right, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's about right.
It kind of coats the spoon. Some right in there. Kind of mix. This is good with peas.
Oh, yeah.
Cream peas. Just drain the liquid instead of using the milk. Drain the liquid into a cup, and then put your butter and your flour in here, and then use that liquid. And you don't need the milk. It makes a tasty pea. Then you put your peas in there.
I don't know what you mean, drain the liquid.
Peas come in a can.
Oh, okay.
Have liquid in it.
Yeah.
And so then you just open the can and reserve the liquid out of
Okay.
the peas.
All right.
And that's what you're going to use then.
Instead of the milk.
Instead of milk.
Yeah.
And it
okay.
makes good cream peas.
That's a lot clearer.
Okay. I'm going to
Now, how did you know to pull the salmon off of the hot?
Well, because while we were fixing these other things, I forgot to turn the heat down. Look what they did.
Oh, yeah.
But they are brown. They're brown on both sides, for
You
sure.
just brown them, that's all
That's
you do?
all you need to do. You can eat salmon right out of a can. You know,
Yeah.
it's already cooked, so all
Yeah.
you're doing is just browning it.
Okay.
I am going to do this for like 30 more seconds.
That was the sauce, salmon patty sauce.
Cream sauce pouring on there, just so you
Okay.
know. I'll put it on the table.
Okay.
In the cup.
There it is. It looks good.
Today we're going to have round steak again. Today we're going to fix it with some gravy, mashed potatoes. And I've cut the round steak into pieces just like we did before. And first thing we're going to do is pepper it all. Salt it. A little bit of garlic on it. And then I'm going to turn this all over and do the same thing on the other side. And on the skillet, I have the skillet heating and melting about an inch of margarine. And notice it's not the Teflon skillet. You want to use that old-fashioned skillet. Because when it browns, it's going to leave some of the meat gets stuck on the bottom of the pan. That helps when you're going to make the gravy.
Okay.
Now we're going to take it over, and when that's hot, we're going to put all this meat squeezed up into the skillet.
Okay. Well, what are you going to do? It's not going to all fit.
Well, as it cooks, it loses some of its bulk.
Uh-huh.
So you're going to let it, this side brown.
The only thing you got left is the bone anyway.
Uh-huh. And you'll be able to squeeze it all in there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you're going to brown this on this side, and then turn it over and brown it on the other side. And then we're going to add quite a bit of water to it and some onion and cover it, and it cooks for a very long time, say almost 3 hours or so. You have to keep checking the skillet periodically and make sure it doesn't go dry.
Mm-hmm. Now, how much did this steak weigh when you bought it?
I don't know. I asked for this one because it looked like one of the smaller ones.
Okay.
I bought it in the meat market.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, if you recall, usually when we cook round steak for just you and I, we only do a half of it.
Okay.
I'm doing it all today because I figure Wendy and Dan are over at John's, and maybe they three will come over and have lunch.
Okay. All right.
Our meat is basically browned on both sides, and as you can see, it doesn't all quite fit flat in the bottom of the skillet, but that's okay because what you do is, as this cooks for a period of like 3 hours, you're going to keep coming to it and switching the meat around in there. Take some from the middle and put it on the outside, take some from the top and put it down on the bottom. And right now what we're going to do is just add 1 slice of onion, just kind of chopped up. The rule is when you're browning your meat, your heat's pretty high, and when you're going to cook it for a long time, your heat is real low. So I've got to turn this way down.
So you're going to cook it right there on the stove?
Yep, it's going to stay right here. And to cook it for a long time, you're going to need lots of water.
What do you have it on right now? It looks like real low.
It is. I just flipped it down to real low. As
Okay.
low as it'll go without
Okay.
going off.
Okay.
And then I filled the bottom part of this lid with water.
Mm-hmm.
And it just about, but not quite, covers the meat.
Okay, let me see.
And that's about how much water you want to start with. And of course, as this cooks, the water keeps evaporating, so you might need to keep adding more water as you shift. You're going to check this, say, like every, half hour maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it needs more water, when you're shifting the meat around, you get more water. And as you shift the meat around, you're going to kind of scratch the bottom of the pan with the fork to get off any of the meat that's stuck on the bottom.
Okay.
And so then we're going to cover this, and it's going to simmer like this for, like I say, maybe 3 hours.
Okay. So we'll check in.
Okay, today we're going to have some cucumbers and onions and vinegar for salad. And we're also going to have a plate over here of tomatoes and green peppers sliced up. All this has been cleaned and pared. And what you do with cucumbers is thinly slice them into the bowl. One layer, and then you just put a little bit of salt. You know, I kind of feel like we did these before.
Yeah, we did. It doesn't hurt. We do.
And then you just take a hunk of onion.
Does that have to be a purple onion? Can that be a regular?
Oh, you don't want a purple one in here, because purple you don't want to mix with anything. It'll
I I see.
It discolors.
So the only thing you use a purple onion for is on top of your salad.
Or on a sandwich.
Yeah.
You like it on a sandwich. Maybe. She thinks she might like cucumbers.
Put some more salt in it.
Just a sprinkling now. You can always add salt when they're all done. But if you get too much salt in, you can always fix that too. You just put all this into a colander and rinse it off with cold water if you get too much salt. So there are your cucumbers and onions sliced, and what you're going to do is let these sit for a little while. It kind of brings the juice out of the cucumbers. And then you put about,
Hold that up.
it's about a quarter cup of vinegar and probably a cup and a half of water. You want enough so that when you pour it in there finally, it's going to cover up the cucumbers. And then you want a little sweetener. You use sweetener or sugar. That's about a half of a thing. What's left over. And it tastes pretty good. So what you're going to do now is you're going to let these sit for about half an hour and then pour this over the top, put the lid on and refrigerate them, and they're ready to go.
Okay.
And then this is just simply going to be some green pepper slices. And some tomato slices. This one is a peeled tomato, and if you peel them, you can use even this end. Usually when you don't peel them, and this last one wasn't peeled, you don't use that rounded end of it.
Yeah.
Because it just has too much skin on it, that's the only reason. But anyway, they're waiting for cook time, and it's now cook time, so what we're going to do is cut them in chunks about like this.
Now, why'd you put them in cold water?
If you don't put them in cold water, they turn brown.
Okay. If they turn brown, are they ruined? They just look bad.
They just look bad.
Okay. So they've been sitting there waiting for your other stuff to get ready. And then when you get done with this, what are you going to do?
I'm going to cover them with water and put a little bit of salt in there and boil them, I'm going to say, for maybe 15 minutes. And then you kind of be poking them with a fork to tell you when they're ready to mash.
Do you cover them while they're boiling?
Covered with water, and I sprinkled salt on the top and then I cover them. This meat is all done, and how I told it was done was I cut a sliver off, and you can even tell, see how it flakes off with a fork. It's nice and tender, so it's just kind of sitting here, kind of simmering on and off until we're ready with everything else, and then we'll fix the gravy right in that pan. The other day we made some garlic bread, and I basically started this out the same way as we did the other. Butter it all and sprinkle it lightly with garlic salt. Today, last time we put it under the broiler, and you get crunchy garlic bread that way. Today we're going to put it, stack it, and wrap it in aluminum foil. And then we'll just put it in a warm oven. And that way it comes out soft rather than the crispy crunch.
How long do you put it in the oven?
Just going to warm it up. So you put it on a real low oven, say 325. And you can leave us kind of poke them with a fork. And you can see how easily that fork goes in there. That tells you that these are just about ready to be mashed. So what we're going to do is let these cook for just a few minutes here. And we're going to go ahead and take this meat out of the skillet. Put it into this microwave dish.
It looks good.
Looks real good.
Well, what are you putting in the microwave for?
Well, we're going to have to keep it warm
Oh,
because we're going to make the gravy in here.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put this spoon of water on the top of this meat. That's just so that it doesn't dry out as we're keeping it warm in the microwave. And you don't need to put it on right away because it's real hot right now, just in case all this doesn't get ready in time is why you're doing that. And this is mushroom soup, cream of mushroom soup. And we just have a little bit of stuff left here in the pan. That ought to be probably all we're going to need is just this can of soup. And that's basically ready, and we're just going to cover it and probably turn it off because it'll stay warm.
Now, all you did, go over that again.
All I did was put that can of mushroom soup in here, and I used up the sauce that was left from the meat, and then I added maybe half cup of water out of these potatoes.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm going to drain the rest of the water out of these potatoes. I'm going to drain that into this
Into what?
measuring cup.
Okay.
And you don't have to have every bit of it because you need some to mash them anyway. I do.
Cooking lesson?
Yeah.
And you add 2 inches of margarine.
Down. No. To fly out of the pan like that?
Yes, it flies everywhere. You really should come prepared when you're in the kitchen. Some people use milk instead of the water from the potatoes, but I use it because it's got all the vitamins in it from the potatoes. And plus it gives you whiter potatoes than milk. You just add, and the pork chops take probably about an hour to cook, so we're going to start them right now. I've bought butterfly cut pork chops, and what that means is they've taken the bone out of them. And I'm going to put some garlic powder on them. Some pepper. And salt.
Do that on both sides or one side?
After I've done one side, I'm going to put these into the skillet this side down.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do the other side the exact same way. And I have just a few pieces of onion here that I'm going to throw on top of the pork chops. After they're browned on both sides, throw these onions in, put a lid on them, and keep watching them, and you may need to be adding water. You don't want them to burn dry, and you do want them to cook for a long time. Okay, the margarine's nice and hot, so we're going to go ahead and put these pork chops in here. Repeat the seasonings. Brown these on both sides, add the onion, a little bit of water, put a lid on it. So sauerkraut, some people cook it directly out of the can. Most people rinse it off lightly, get some of the sour taste out of it. And so we're going to rinse ours off just a little bit.
All right.
Put it all in the pan. I'm going to add probably a little less than a half of a cup of liquid.
Half the can.
Yeah.
Boy, that's not very
Sauerkraut
good.
is already cooked, so really all you have to do is heat it. When you're going to make dumplings, you have to have it bubbly. So you want to cook it until it's bubbly. In any case, we're just going to go ahead and put it on and let it just kind of slowly cook while the pork chops are cooking.
Okay.
And that's all you do to the sauerkraut instead of dumplings.
Okay.
These chops are brown. You see what brown means? See all these?
Uh-huh.
These chops are brown, so they're ready to be turned.
Now after you turn them the first time, you just leave them turned, right?
You don't have to. You're going to be wanting to check them to make sure they're not burned. You do want to turn your heat down as soon as you turn them. Let them brown just a little bit on that side. Then fill your skillet, not fill, put some water in your skillet lid, and then you just put it right on top of it. Keep checking those like every 10 minutes or so because you don't want them to burn.
And how long?
Okay, we're going to go on with the dumplings now. Dick likes dumplings on his. I like mashed potatoes on mine. The dumplings we make are from Bisquick, and they're right on the side. Tells you right how to make it. And what you do is you get 2 cups of Bisquick, and you use a 1/3 measure cup, and you get 2/3 of that, and it goes into a bowl, and you just
Wait
mix
a
it
minute, what was that? You just got 2/3 of
of
it?
milk.
Okay.
Milk and Bisquick.